It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about why 30% of immigrants to New Zealand pack up and go back home. But before we get into that, I just wanted to remind you that if you're moving to New Zealand or thinking of moving to New Zealand, to sign up for my free 5-day video guide. I'll send you a video every day for 5 days showing you some aspect of what it's like to live in New Zealand. It's absolutely free. You won't find it anywhere else on the internet, and I'm going to put the description in the link below. Okay, let's jump into the episode. Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking about why people come to New Zealand and then go home again. So
about emigrating, not just come on a holiday and go home.
About emigrating, yeah. So they make the move to New Zealand, and we'll give you a few figures in a minute, but they make the move to New Zealand and then they just go home.
Yeah, not everybody, but a percentage.
Yeah. Just to give you a little bit of background, you know, we're really professional today. We've got our notes, so it's not going to be like the last podcast that we did, where it was a complete...
That was one of those days that it just was never going to go right.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
We couldn't decide, we couldn't make a decision. But today, well, maybe John might start his mulcher. We don't know. So
it's Sunday here in New Zealand. It's March. We've had a really relaxing morning. We made pancake. Well, Brian made pancakes.
Sonny, our son, stayed over. He was on the early podcasts, and he's moved out. He doesn't live with his parents anymore.
No, and he stayed last night, and Brian made everyone pancakes this morning, which was really nice.
Yeah, Tess and Sonny went to see Crowded House last night, which is the biggest New Zealand band ever. Yeah,
they played in New Plymouth.
Yeah, at the Bowl of Brooklyn. Yeah,
we didn't go because we're old farts. And then, we had our pancakes this morning, and then we went for a walk with the dog, and it was such a beautiful day. There was no mulching going on next door, and we just said, let's just make the most of it, sit outside, set it up. Hopefully the sound's going to work and everything's going to be fine.
You're going to hear our umbrella creaking away because it's a windy day.
Yeah.
But hey.
And let's just talk about why, when you make that move to New Zealand, for some people, it's just not right. And yeah. So the facts, these are based on 2018 figures, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yep, you carry on talking. I'm going to pour some tea.
Where like 30% of immigrants that move to New Zealanders, so non-New Zealanders, move back to where they've come from. We're going to give you our point of view from a British side of view, because we're British.
Yep.
And just talk about the things that are sending you backpacking home, running with your tail between your legs, going, it wasn't for me.
Yep, didn't work for me.
So we've been here for 12 years. We absolutely love New Zealand. Was it all a bed of roses to start with? Maybe not. You know, you can go back and listen to podcasts that we've said about our first year in New Zealand, and that'll give you more of an idea about that. But on the whole, it's just been the best thing we ever did moving to New Zealand.
It's been great. It's, you know, you've got to move here with a positive attitude, but you know, things do happen, and you know, situations happen with immigrants and things like that they need to go back home sometimes. You know, family reasons or friend reasons or whatever. Yeah. So let's.
These 4 points, or these points that we're going to make now, we'll probably go on. But these points that we're going to make now are not they're not factual. They're not like, oh, this is but this is what we see as why people go home. Like, you know, when you just watch how people come over here and settle, and the things that might send you home. It's right, the dog's just laying down in the bushes. But so number one. The reason people go home is because they think New Zealand is going to be this back and beyond cheap desert island. Do you know what I mean? Wearing grass skirts. And
they think they're moving to somewhere in Asia that is, you know, it's going to be cheap.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Asia, but it's just...
You know, you're stepping back in time 20, 30 years or something, and think it's all going to be hunky-dory and the good old days.
That's what I think. It's like people come over here and they think it's going to be dirt cheap. I don't know if you've ever went to, but do you remember Greece 30 years ago?
Yeah, well, before the Euro.
Before the Euro, and it was drachma, and you'd go over there and literally you could get a beer for like 10p or something, couldn't you?
Yeah, well, it used to cost,
it was not 10p, but you know what I'm saying.
I remember getting a big bottle of Amstel for 30p. And it was just like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like 30 pence.
Yeah, which is like a New Zealand dollar, like, you know, and it was just. And then they went over to and everyone just went there, didn't they? Like, including us. It was just like, oh, go to Greece because like £200 will last you 10 years. And everyone would flock there. And then they went over to the euro and Greece just went.
Well, it did. Well, inflation went up and the country imploded, didn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
But I think that people, just talking to people, like people who haven't come over here yet, they have that impression that they're going to come and it's going to be super cheap. The food's going to be, you know, we're all going to be living off market stall food at the side of the road, and it's going to be, you know,
Yeah. Well, you can do those things to a degree, but you can't.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. But you get here and it's like a normal country, and it's like, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, so proper supermarkets, everything's proper. It is, you know.
Yeah.
It is.
But you can almost see sometimes the look of disappointment in people.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that? Did you think?
Yeah, well, you know, it's when I used to work with a lad called Aaron. When I first came to New Zealand, and you know, we were working for a plumbing company, and you know, he was English, so it's like, oh,
is that the one that kept calling me Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And but he used to go to the pub every night at 5 o'clock, and it's just like, you're in New Zealand, you know, why don't you go to the beach, or why don't you go and do a few different
goody
things?
two shoes.
Oh yeah,
maybe you needed a beer after work.
Yeah, well, obviously. Because that's why he went.
Do you want a beer, Brian?
But it wasn't just
no,
one.
let's go for a swim.
But what I'm trying to say, God's sake. Let's go for a swim.
Not I. No beer for I.
Oh, God.
Good English boy.
There we go.
Sorry, go on. All right, no, I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to be really serious today.
No. But what I'm trying to say is he didn't change when he came. To New Zealand. It's just a bad one, isn't she? Yeah.
No, go on, yeah.
And so,
but actually, that's point number 2. But you've jumped ahead. But go on.
Have I?
Yes.
See, well, you've hidden it because I can't read it. So, but anyway, and that's what I was trying to say to him. It's like, why don't you? You know, he just did the same thing, 5 days a week.
Yeah,
and that was
we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think a good point to make is like people come over, like I say, and they do just think it's just going to be. Cruisy living on this, you know, this island. And it is an island and it is beautiful, but it's not. I haven't been to Tahiti, but you know where you imagine sort of like going to like ding ding ding, you know, like
a Hawaiian feel.
So like everyone's just like, you know, no one works, everyone's laid back and everything, and you get here and it's like, shit, this is actually just like normal. You know, we have to go to work, we have to put food on the table, the kids have to go to school. It's just.
It's not like, you know, I've got $10,000 in the bank and I can live for the next 6 months. Well, that just is not going to happen, like, you know.
So point number 2, so that's point number 1. Point number 2, why people flock home, 30% of people go back and think, do you know what? No, it's not what I thought it was. I reckon that point number 2 is because, and this is the biggest thing, because you meet little goody two-shoes like you who ruin your experience. No, they come over and they try to make it. They try to this is so common. They try to replicate Britain, basically, don't they?
Yeah.
They bring their life from Britain to New Zealand and then wonder why it's not the same. And it drives me mad, that.
Yeah, about the only thing they do is buy a barbecue and try and think it's like Australia-y type thing and what have you, isn't it? Like,
and then not only that, they moan when it isn't like England. And they go, oh, in England you can do that. In England you can do this. And it's like, well, you're not in England. So what's that all about?
It's like,
why would you move to New Zealand and say it's not the same as it? Why would you do that?
But you do. I did it.
When?
Because, you know, again, I was working in the plumbing industry and stuff like that. And you go, you don't do that in England. And they look at you and go,
oh, I bet you were talked about in that smoko room.
Yeah, smoko.
Not only doesn't he go for a beer with us, but he just sits and moans about the plumbing parts. No,
everything's metric. Yeah, anyway.
I think, I remember we went to that barbecue. I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but do you remember we went to that barbecue and that woman that you trapped me with in the corner, that British woman, you know who I'm talking about?
I do know you.
And she sat for about 2 hours and moaned to me about the fact that you couldn't get decent bacon.
I know, she's been here longer, hasn't she?
And she's like, there's nowhere to go shopping, is there? And I'm like, well, yeah, there is. But and as for the bacon, it's just like, so Yeah. If you're going to come to New Zealand, can you just know that this isn't England? It's not Britain. You know, yes, there are things that are the same, that are similar, not the same, but they're similar.
Yeah.
And you don't feel homesick because of that.
Yeah. And it's certainly not America. So if anyone's American coming here, you know, there's similarities to America and New Zealand with road signs and different things.
Yeah.
But that's, you know.
Do you think it's because it is quite similar to Britain that the Brits get tricked into thinking, oh, it's England, you know, it's Britain.
Yeah.
I keep saying England, but you know what I mean.
You know, because they do. They think, oh, it's the Queen of England, and she's, you know, head of the country as such. You know,
We're drinking
well,
jasmine tea,
yes.
by the way.
And she's not actually. She's the Queen of New Zealand.
What are you saying?
Oh my God!
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I didn't
Sounded
hear what
like
you
your
said.
grandma then.
No, I know.
What's he saying?
No, go on. Sorry, Brian. Well, no, I didn't hear. Just repeat what you said. I've done about the Queen.
Yeah, you know, the similarities to England, where you've got the Queen of England, but she's, you know, and everyone, oh, she's the Queen of England. It's the same Queen, but she's not. She's the Queen of New Zealand.
Right.
You know, and that's
I can't talk to you about that because I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what you're really going on about.
It's just
So isn't she the Queen? Is she still the Queen of England?
yeah,
though?
she's the Queen of England, but
Yeah,
she's
but
actually,
why are you
we tend to come here and go, oh, she's the Queen of England when you're here, but she's the Queen of New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's the Queen of
Right.
Australia.
Right.
Yeah, Queen of Canada. You know?
So yeah, so coming over and just saying, you know, it's like you say, oh, well, the pubs aren't as good, and
Yeah, well, the pubs are completely different. You know,
Yeah.
the more bars, sports bar-y type thing, you're not going to get that old English pub feeling here.
no.
You just won't. You might the odd place, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
If you want to listen to another podcast while we're on that subject, go and watch or listen to the podcast about the things that you'll miss when you come to New Zealand. And I think we talk about pubs on one of those, don't we?
I think we do too.
Because you cannot beat, I'm sorry, and I know this podcast isn't about let's reminisce about England, but you cannot beat a British pub. I'm sorry, you can't.
No, a good Sunday lunch,
Yeah.
in you know, British pub, or you know, darts evening, or
Yeah.
pool, you know, snooker evening, pool evening, whatever it's
Oh
called.
no, not
That's you. and
no.
that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh God, I wouldn't be able to go to a pub that had a darts evening.
Oh, it's
How
great.
old are you?
I used to play when I was about 20, and I was a pool captain. That's when I had a life.
I was going to say, I didn't know that you did that. Anyway, so I was going to say about the Irish pub that we went to, and you walked in and there was all buskers there.
Yeah,
and
that was great, wasn't
it's
it?
just so dim and dark and
We'll throw a video of that up on.
yeah,
it was great.
yeah, we will. Actually,
Yeah.
while we're talking about that, let's
Yeah.
just put the video of Ireland and it's just, you'll know
Yeah.
what we're saying. But going back to our original thing, don't come to New Zealand thinking that, you know, it's going to be exactly like it is in England, because it's not. It's better. It's different. It's different. So if you know that before you come, maybe you won't be so disappointed, you know?
Yeah. You moving?
What are you laughing at? Yeah, I'm putting my feet up. What are you laughing at? You've got something to say.
I'm not.
You're having a little chuckle
I'm
to
just
yourself.
thinking about. I'm trying to read your writing, but I can't see because the candlestick's in
okay.
the way.
So number 3, my notes are on the floor. I've written them on chalk on the deck. Not really. Number 3, why people go home is because they tend to think that coming to New Zealand will change the people they are. And the reason I can say this is because I thought that, in a sense, that, do you remember when we were moving to New Zealand?
No.
Hey?
Well, go on.
And I said, because I'm just thinking to myself, and I said to you, I remember sitting at the table in Bath, and I said to you, when we move to New Zealand, Brian, we're going to stop being so sarcastic. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but
And-
that's never
and
going
we-
to happen, is it?
Well, hello.
Hello?
That's why we're here talking
I
about
know.
it. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like,
Yeah, but you
But-
do. You think you're gonna have this positive outlook that you're gonna do this and that.
oh
to
no, I think
not
we're
be as-
positive.
Yeah, positive, but not to be sarcastic.
Yeah, that's just our experience, because
Yeah.
like we're super sarcastic. It's not a good trait to have. It's really not. It's just
Judgmental and sarcastic was what the Brits are, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sarcasm is just it. Do you know sarcasm, Brian, is the highest form of wit?
I know. Or the lowest. It's the funniest.
Yeah, it's the funniest.
If you're a Brit.
But we said when we were in England 12 years ago, like when we get to New Zealand, we're not going to be sarcastic anymore. And that lasted for about like 2.5 hours when we got off the plane. And then it was like we were in the camper just being sarcastic. But the point is, you know, if you've got, and I don't want to say that it's in a horrible way, but if you've got like a dodgy marriage, or you've got, I don't know,
Yeah, we have talked about that before
Yeah.
sometime. It's like, you know, just because you're coming away, it's not going to fix your marriage. You have to fix your marriage, don't
Yeah.
you? You know, and it's like, you know, if you work at it, then yeah, this is going to be the best place going, like, you know, and it's that thing, isn't it? But you can't just because you're starting to move apart that you think this will make you closer. It will make you closer because you're doing something together, but you've got to work on that
Yeah.
relationship as well. Haven't
Yeah.
you? If it's, you know, it's not going to fix something.
no, it's
You know?
not. And I think probably, I don't know this for a fact, but I think a large majority of people who do return is because they've come over hoping that New Zealand will fix something for them, whether it's in their relationship or their family or
Yeah.
their self or
Yeah.
sarcasm or whatever, you know.
It might well fix kids and things if, you know, they're going wayward over in the UK, and, you know, you can do more things with them. You know,
that's like
mountain
a
biking.
lifestyle
That's
thing,
a
isn't
lifestyle
it?
change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
that will fix.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes,
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But
If-
you've got to make that lifestyle change as well, haven't you?
Yes.
You've got to work at it. You can't just
Yeah,
think,
that's a really
we'll
good
do that
point.
next week, and
Yeah.
it's like, you know, oh, it means I've got to buy a mountain bike. Well, yeah, you can buy one off Trade Me for $100, you know, and
Yeah.
go riding with the kids and stuff. So yeah, you don't need to go and buy the $3,000 mountain bike because no one really cares here.
No.
They don't,
no,
do they?
No.
You can ride a whatever. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what's great.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't,
that's
you
a
don't
really
need
good
your
point.
super duper Nike trainers and stuff. And it's like, you know, where your jandals?
Yeah, and also what you just said about making that effort as well, because again, going back to our experience,
Yeah.
it was, we weren't particularly outdoorsy in England, were we? We didn't, you know, I mean, we did. We've travelled a load with the kids, and we always camped.
We used to do a lot of walking and biking with them.
Yeah,
Liz.
but I've never water skied. So let's
Oh,
take
shit,
water
no.
skiing. So
Yeah.
if you'd said to me in England, let's go water skiing, I'd be like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going water skiing. It's freezing.
Yeah.
You get here, we bought a little $3,000 boat.
Yep.
And, you know, when the kids were younger, we've still got it, but we hardly ever use it now.
Yep.
But when the kids were younger, and I remember you saying, are you going to water ski, Liz? I was like, oh, no, you know, I really don't want to. But I made the effort, and I was like, no, come on. And it was an effort, and I could have quite easily have gone, no, I'm staying at home, I don't want to do it with you. But you make the effort to change that lifestyle, don't you?
And that's the thing, and that's what we're saying. You've got to work at it. You can't just think, oh no, I'll stay here. It's too easy just to stay in your house. You can stay in the house when it's raining and horrible, can't you?
Yeah.
But we've had some great days on that little boat.
Yeah,
And,
we have,
You know, and like I say, it doesn't need to. You don't need the Mastercraft ski boat. It's a fishing boat that we use as a ski boat, like you know. It's great. It's brilliant.
Another point as well is, how are we doing for time? Are we okay? Are we rambling
We
on?
are 18 minutes.
Okay, so we've
well,
better just...
about 16 minutes actually,
Yeah.
because we had the setup. Yeah.
So another point, hang on, I've just forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so another point as well is, maybe this isn't valid, but it's like when we were moving to New Zealand, I thought, and we were like, oh, we're not going to be sarcastic, we're going to be all like this, we're going to be like this, but you know, it's just, God knows what I thought I was going to turn into. But
Yeah.
I did think that I was going to have to be super sociable.
Yep.
And for the first couple of years coming to New Zealand, I was super sociable, weren't we? I mean, when you think about, you know,
unbelievable, because you're trying to just fit in.
yeah,
And so you do have to put yourself out there.
yeah,
You know, and if there is a party at the weekend, I'm not saying a raucous party, but just a get together of people and stuff like that, bring a plate.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But my point is, without rambling on too much, is that yes, we made that effort, but now I'm just happy. You know,
Yeah.
I like to just stay at home. I don't go out all the time. I haven't got loads of friends. And my point is, if you are in England or in America or the UK or wherever you are, and you know, and you're thinking of coming over and thinking, oh no, am I going to have to go over and change massively? And maybe I don't think I'm explaining this right, but what my point is you don't have to. Brian, I haven't explained it very well.
No, it's true. It's like you think that you're going to have to be this changed person when
Yeah.
you come to New Zealand. You
Yeah.
don't. You know, if you're a miserable bugger, like sometimes I mostly am, then it's fine. No one's going to bother you, are they? Like, you know. But yeah, you can have your miserable times, but
You're not miserable.
but the thing is you feed off of the people, don't you? So when you meet the people, you know, and you're not expecting like da-da, but it's just you just get that little bit of a buzz off them because
Yeah.
it's like, hey mate, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Oh, like, you know, it's awesome, isn't it? Everything's brilliant. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like they don't look on the downsides. Oh, it's bloody horrible and cold, isn't it? And windy. We don't do that, do we? you know.
Oh, we do.
No, we do.
In private. But then we go out and pretend we're all happy and
Yeah.
go, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah. It is
Go on.
weird.
Okay, so number 4 is people who move to New Zealand and then go back again. They think that they're coming to the land of milk and honey, which I think we've probably just covered this already in what we've just been talking about.
Yep.
But it's that thing, isn't it, where everything's going to be perfect. And New Zealand is just going to be this wonderful place. All your problems are going to be solved. All your kids are going to be perfect. You know, you're just going to live this gorgeous life. And, you know, it's real life. It's just,
it is just
you
real
have
life.
your problems like anywhere else in the world, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You've got your same money worries as what you have anywhere else in the world. You know, it's just a normal country at the end of the day. You know, you think, well, why have you moved there? And it's like, well, mainly, why?
I wouldn't say it's a normal country. It's a bloody special country.
Yeah, it is a special
It
country.
is a special country, but I don't want people to think that it's this perfect, idyllic, you know.
Nothing goes wrong.
Nothing, and you're going to have this perfect life. I think that's the trouble, is people do come over and they're like, oh, hang on a minute, you know, my car's been smart. Like when we first moved to New Zealand, I've talked about this before in the, which podcast did we talk about this?
I can't remember. It wasn't that long ago, was it?
Yeah.
South we parked our car up in South Auckland and went off in a camper because we bought a car from an auction, and we just didn't know the geographic area of Auckland of what was what, and we just parked it in near a housing estate and came back 10 days later and the car windows were smashed in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
but you know, that was
they
our
didn't
fault.
steal anything. They were just peed off because I left it parked outside someone's house. I think. Yeah, who knows?
But that, can you talk?
No, I'm going to actually make you suffer, and you know.
We're eating
It's hard,
biscotti.
yeah, bit of biscotti.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're again, it's like, but we could have come back and gone, oh well, hang on a minute, what's this?
Yep.
Car broken into in New Zealand. I thought this was a crime-free, you know, idyllic island that nothing ever happens, and we're going home, and just it's just.
I'm eating now. It's everything's. It's. I keep trying to say it's normal. It's just. It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's specialness, and
I think you've got the opportunity. The reason someone asked me the other day, what were you expecting out of New Zealand, and did your expectations come true?
Yeah.
And my answer was, I was expecting to be less stressed. I was expecting to have more time with my family, and I was just expecting to have more just space in my mind, not physical space, but just more space, not so much going on in my mind.
Yeah.
Did those 3 things come true? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely, without a doubt, those 3 things came true.
Yep.
Were they easy to get to though? No, they weren't.
Yeah.
There was days that I sat on the phone to your mum crying my eyes out saying, you know.
Yeah, the amount of people that turn around to you and say, "Oh, you're lucky. You
that
live in New
drives me
Zealand,"
mad,
and it's just like, oh my goodness, you realise what you go through to get here.
Yeah.
You know, it costs a lot of money for one thing, but it's not about the money. It's about what you go through to settle yourself. Excuse me. Here, once once you've moved.
Yeah.
The easy bits, the realistically, is getting your residency almost.
Yeah.
You know, and people go, oh no, that's the hardest thing. It's like, no, actually moving here is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
It's like, and then trying to become and live in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Because it is, at the end of the day, it's a foreign country. It's English speaking, but you know, it's like they say a lot of different words than us, and you know, you're just like, you don't say that in. Oh, it's just like, shut up. So yeah.
If you want to watch a really good video, go and watch our New Zealand words and phrases, how New Zealanders speak.
Yep.
I'll put that up on the screen for you, and you can go and watch that. That's a good point to what you just said. Yeah, a mean as New Zealander.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to wrap it up, Bri, I mean, you feel for people when you meet new people that come over here, and you can sort of tell whether or not they're going to make it or not, because if you're coming over and immediately you've got,
you see the wobbly ones straight away.
Yeah,
because
you
they're just,
do.
it's not I didn't expect this, and I wasn't thinking this. It was going to be like this, and they find it really hard. And you know, the place I'm renting is not that good, and it's cold in the winter, and it's so you're just like, yep. And it's hard, you know. I'm struggling with the work that I'm in. I'm not enjoying it. I wish I'd just stayed at home. They're going to go home.
yeah,
They really are.
yeah,
You know, and you do 12 months later, they're packing their bags and they're going. But you don't meet that many. I mean, out of every 100, you've had 100 people in a room and 30 left. There's still 70 people left.
No, 70 people stayed.
That's
yeah, sorry, yes. Yeah. Oh, I thought you said 70 people left.
No, it's 30 people left. There's still 70 people that stayed.
Remained, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
So, it still feels quite full.
So I think my advice to you, I hope that has been really helpful for you, just to watch for those points when you do. I know a lot of you are thinking in the future about moving to New Zealand, but just bear those points in mind that we've just talked about. And also, although it's very tempting to come over here, this is another thing I would say as well. When you come over, it's very tempting to flock to your own. It's like, they're from England, let's go and hang out with them. Or, they're from Ireland, let's go and hang out with them.
Most people do. Most cultures stick together sort of thing, because it's just that familiarity, isn't it? Like, and you want to. So you tend to, people, you'll hear an English accent in the room and you'll tend to gravitate over to them. The first thing you say, where are you from?
Yeah.
It's like,
but don't just stay with, don't just stay around your own, don't just go to a load of Brits or a load of Americans or whatever. Just get to know the Kiwis, get to know the New Zealanders, and just really just embrace it is what I would say. Immerse yourself in it. And another really good tip that someone gave me as well, we can talk about this on another podcast, but another really good tip that someone said to me, because I was really homesick at the beginning. Brian had gone to work, I was on my own. This is when the kids went to school and I was just super homesick. And someone said, start your new routine from today. And it was such good advice, because it was like, okay, so on Monday, I'm going to say, for example, like, go to the library, or on Tuesday, I'm going to go to the butcher's and the fruit and veg shop. And on Wednesday, I'm going to make something. And, and it was just to have that completely different to what I was used to in England. Just to, and it's like someone wiping the slate clean and just saying, okay.
So, but that's up to you then to keep that routine going as well, because that's when you wipe the slate clean and don't start falling back into older ways and things.
Stop moaning about the bacon. For God's sake, the bacon in New Zealand is delicious.
And even the guy Peter I used to work with, another English guy, and he was like, can't really get a decent sausage.
Oh, you are kidding me. There's one thing that the Kiwis know how to bloody eat, and it's sausages, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah,
apart from the chicken lip pre-cooked ones.
Yeah, but they're just, I don't like those, but yeah, you can get really nice sausage. Anyway. Okay, so we hope you enjoyed this week's video podcast, and we'll speak to you next time.
Kia kaha, stay strong, and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him.
Mother thanks you.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.